In this vlog, we would like to continue with our widget testing concept, which we are dealing in our previous tutorial as well. So there we have made use of find one widget, and I have said like we will be discussing the matches in our coming tutorials, right? So in this part of the tutorial, we will mainly focus on these matches and try to see how we use them in our Flutter applications. And all these different matches have their own importance, and now let's try to see them what they are. The first one we would like to see is like finds n widgets. So here n specifies how many number of widgets we are trying to expect, and the second one is like finds widgets. So this particular matcher specifies that we are expecting one or more than one widgets in our code, and the third one is finds nothing. So when we don't want to find anything, we make use of this particular matcher here. So you may ask me why we use finds nothing. But in test case scenarios, we will have a positive test case and also a negative test case, right? So we need to cover up all the scenarios, whether a particular widget is present on the screen or not. And if it is present, like we need to test what type of data it is having, like, and it is again depending upon the scenario and requirements again. So here finds nothing means like on a particular screen we don't have any widgets, so just like an so in a particular screen we don't want to find any widgets, so there might be a requirement like there is no widget in a particular screen. So in these particular scenarios we may use of this like finds nothing and try to check the scenario. And the fourth one is like finds one widget. So this one we have seen in our previous tutorial, and of course in this part of the tutorial also we would like to go through all of them so that you get a good knowledge on when to use these particular matches in your test cases. So now let's try to see the sample code for all these matches, and then let's jump into the programming part. So this is sample code for finds and widgets here. As I have said, like we have specified how many widgets we are expecting. So here 2 is the number of widgets. For example, we do have a text widget in our code, and if we have another text widget also, then we may make use of this particular scenario, and in place of find n widgets here we can specify 2 here. So we can just specify 2 just like we have specified find n widgets of 2, and if you are having 3 text widgets then you can just make the 2 to 3 here. So that's what, and don't get confused in our programmatical part, you will be cleared out with all your doubts. And the second matcher is like finds widgets. So here we are not specifying any number of widgets, but this states that we are expecting one or more than one widgets on our screen. And the third one is finds nothing. So as I have said earlier, finds nothing means we are not trying to find any widget on the screen, so we are making use of this. So in the sample code we can see like find.text in brackets we have specified save here. So in our code we will search for this particular word save, whether we have any widget with this particular code, like with this particular save title specified. So in the programmatical part, you will be get a clarity on this particular matcher as well. And the final one is finds one widget. So here we will exactly try to find that particular one widget which we have specified. Okay. So now let's get started with the programmatical part and try to see these particular matches implementation. And now let's try to add a test case over here. So test widgets, and within the description, so first of all let us try to test only one widget is present or not. So find one widget is our first test case here, and within the callback I would like to specify widget tester, and here, and this particular method is asynchronous here, so we need to wait for this particular widget and then only we can just test it. Await tester dot pump widget, and here I'm specifying my app here. Okay, so this is our my app which we have specified here. And now let's try to specify a text field and try to find dot by type. It's of a type text field which we are trying to find, right? So widget is of a type text field, and now try to expect it whether a text field is present or not, and also specify the matchers here. Finds one widget is a matcher which we are trying to identify here, and try to run this particular test case, and here it will pass for sure because we are having only one text field on our screen here. So if you go through the code here, clearly we can find only one text field present in our code. And now let's try to see the second scenario, and I'm just trying to copy all this code and paste it over here. So while you are trying this particular example, I suggest you to write the entire test case again because it will be much helpful for you to remember the steps what we are performing, and you can understand it much better. And now let's make use of finds and widgets. Okay, so even you make any typos in this particular description, it doesn't matter because the description is for us to read, that's all. It has nothing to do with the programming part. So now let's specify finds and widgets here, and it is asking for the count here. So now let's specify 2 and go to the main.dot file here and try to add one more text field to your code here. So I'm adding one more text field to our code, and come back to the widget test.dot and try to rerun this particular test case, and try to run this particular test case and see the output here. And now our test case is passed successfully. So here you can check whether which particular test case is running here. So you can find finds and widgets here, and here the same result is being displayed for it. And also you can target it over here. Even you can select which particular test case you want to run. Find one widget, find n widgets here. So if you have multiple test cases, you can just run them as you wish. You can just tap on the green button over here, or you can just select it from the drop down and try to run it. And now when you try to run this particular code, it will fail for sure because we are having two text fields onto the screen, and we are just said that we have only one widget on our screen. So I think you now understood what is finds one widget and what is finds n widgets. And now let's try to add one more test case, and there we would like to see finds nothing. So just copy this particular code and paste it over here, and now let's try to find finds nothing, and we do have a matcher for it like finds nothing. And what does it do? Let's try to see. Okay, so instead of a text field here, I would like to specify text button. And now let's try to run this particular scenario, and any guesses like what will be the output when we try to run this particular test case? So you can just add it to the comment section if you have any idea. Let's try to run this particular code and see this particular test case for sure will pass. So here, how come this test case pass? We don't have any text button on our screen, right? So here, if you come back here, we do have only text field here, and that too we have two text fields on our screen, and we don't have any text button. Then how come our test case pass here? So that is what we do with the help of finds nothing. So finds nothing will not find anything, and this is a scenario where it will not find anything, and that's what it is. It haven't find any text button in our code. So yes, our test case is now passed. So if you are still confused, go back to our code here and try to add a text button here. and also try to remove the constant over here which we have specified. And now try to run this particular test case which was passed earlier will now fail for sure. So here it has now found a text button in our code, so finds nothing scenario will fail. Okay, so now let's try to find out the last test case here, and for which I would like to add one more test case here, and this one will be like finds widgets here. So what is finds widgets and what does it do? So just make sure of the text field only, so you will get a good clarity like what finds widgets will do. So here now try to run this particular test case, and our test case is now passed successfully. We do have two text fields in our code, right? So it has passed in this particular scenario. Try to delete one text field and go back to the finds widgets and try to run this particular code, and now will it pass or fail? So in this scenario also it will pass because we have not specified any number of widgets over here, or we have not constrained any number limit on the widgets here. So it is like just finds widgets in itself states that it will try to find out one or more than one widgets in our code. So yes, this is the usage of these particular matches which we have seen in this particular tutorial, and try to make use of these particular matches in your application so that you may find out you may make them easier to implement your widget testing scenarios. And if you do have any queries and are you confused in this particular concept especially, do let me know in the comment section below. I will surely try to help you. So yes, this is it for this tutorial, and the code for this tutorial I will be providing in the description section below. And if you like this tutorial, do like, share and subscribe to our channel for more interesting content on Flutter.